Hello and welcome. This is Dr. Victor. In this video, I am going to talk about arguably the world's most written program, the Hello World program. The reason why I say it's the world's most written program is because no matter which programming language you learn, you almost always start with writing this program. Let's take a look at the Hello World program in the Python programming language. Over here, I am writing the code in repoit.com, and I have a folder here. So I'm going to create one repo, which is basically a piece of code, and I got to choose the Python programming language. I'm going to name it with something that I'm familiar with. Let's call it Python Hello World. Okay, so I create this one. So I'm going to load up some stuff, and I can start writing the program in the Python language. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to write this, and I'm going to say hello world, exclamation mark, a little bit of excitement over here. And let's run it. So run, you see that on the right hand side, this console screen, there's this hello world sentence over here. So as you can see, it's very simple. The program runs, it causes the console screen to print the phrase hello world. But don't underestimate this program. Actually, a lot has happened here. First, you can see that I'm using a special function in Python called print. You can see that it's turned in purple over here. And I put a pair of parentheses after it. Then, inside, I write a piece of information that this function uses to do its work. After that, when I run this program by clicking this button, this piece of information, hello world, is shown on the screen, on the console screen over here. Right. Now, building on that, I can even experiment with what I can do in Python. Especially, I can experiment with things that will not work in Python. For example, if I type something like this here, you can see that, well, in repo, it tells you that it is no longer like a keyword because it's not purple in color, and it starts having this little red squibbly thing underneath. But more importantly, when you click the run button, it will tell you that something went wrong, right? There's no like things that got shown up, but instead there's kind of like a red error telling you something is missing or wrong. In this case, if I add ln at the end, this thing is not defined, right? Or if I change it back, and then I do like something like this, right? I miss a double quote in the front, or I can miss it at the back. I click run, then it gives me another error, right? Invalid syntax. So by doing so, I actually experiment with the code to see what I can do and what I cannot do. So in other words, what this does is it allows me to test out this very simple Python syntax, a way to represent information in Python, and if the code can be correctly converted into something that a computer can run. Now, this program is so simple that it can be written in just 1 or 2 minutes, and I can test it almost immediately. And I also have a visible result to verify, to see something on the screen. And that's why it's being used in almost any programming languages to get started. So let me just change it to something that I can actually play with. Now, in fact, it is so well known that this Hello World program is used as a measure of the ease of use of a programming language, known as the time to Hello World, or TTHW. Now, of course, you can change it to anything else other than the word or the phrase hello world. Or for example, I can change it into something like programming is fun. More excitement over here. And if I do this, you can see that it changes from hello world into something else. We mostly use hello world because it's simple and it is like the first time your program comes to life and say hello to the world, right? So that's pretty appropriate. Now, in the rest of the video, I'm going to show you a few more Hello World programs in different programming languages. You can see the difference and let me know which one you think has the best ease of use by thinking about what is the TTHW over here. So first, let me go back to my repos. I am going to start another repo. This time, I'm going to pick another language. For example, I'm going to pick C. Right? And give it a name, say C, hello world. So I create this. You can see that the syntax over here is going to be quite different than what you have just seen in Python. So you have this directive to include what we call a standard IO library. You have a function called main, and then inside you print the same thing. Now you can see that the spelling of the print things to the screen is already different than to Python. So if I click run, you can see that immediately I see the word hello world. Again, I can change it into something like, say, C is fun. So I do that. Now I change it into something else. I can also change into something like, say, this one, and you can see that it's going to tell me something is wrong. So I'm experimenting what is possible in C as a programming language. Now, if I go back, let me show you another language, which is C++. So I'm going to create another repo. And this time I'm going to choose C++ over here. I'm going to call it CPP hello world. Over here is creating a C++ program, which is kind of like a successor of the C programming language. So we have the same kind of directive. This time I'm going to change it to something else, and then it has something that looks like this. Typically, we want to also do this at the end. We will have another video explaining how all these work together. But the main thing that I want to show you is that it is no longer using, say, print, but instead is it using something like standard : C out, which actually stands for console out. And then you use this very interesting operator here. But the hello world phrase is the same. So I can say that, say, I'm going to change it to something like this is Victor. Right? And just like a question mark. A full stop over here. So I can run it. And you can see that this is going to do the exact same thing. It's going to print something onto the console screen and it runs. Right? Last but not least, I want to show you one more programming language, which is Java. So I go back to here. I'm going to create yet another repo. This time, let's find Java. And I'm going to call it Java hello world. Right. So I create this, another programming or another code, which is written in the language Java. And as you can see, it's again quite different than C, C++, or Python. So here we again have this function called main, and it has some extra stuff in the parentheses. Now inside you don't see the C out or print, but you have this like long thing like system.out.print line. But then again, you are going to use the same thing. So I'm going to run this program again in Java, and it's going to do a little bit of what we call compilation, and then it is going to produce the result once it's finished that. See that it's printing hello world here, and I can change to something like how are you today? Question mark. So changing the question, and then you can see that once I run it again, now this thing is going to change from the hello world into another phrase which I just swapped out with. How are you today? Right. So there you go. The world's most written program, hello world program. Hope you have learned something useful today. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. I hope to see you soon again. Bye.